What's up, everybody? John Pemberthy here. Welcome to this Facebook Live. Listen, I'm going to wait here a few seconds to see if anyone actually shows up for this thing and decides to keep me company. I have not done a Facebook Live or even posted on this fan page, I believe, in like 3 or 4 weeks, maybe even longer than that. And so I want to start this Facebook Live in just a moment by explaining where the heck I've been, what the heck I've been up to, why I put the word machete in this in the description of this Facebook ad. And I also want to talk about something really cool that came up. I was talking to one of my coaching students here earlier on. His name's Ryan Hauser, and we were talking about the entry point of his business and I'm sure most of you have heard of the term lead magnet, and lead magnet, and that the process of giving something away for free in return for someone's name and email address, and how he was setting that up for his stuff. And it triggered a few things, it triggered a few thoughts that I want to share with you guys that I think will be valuable for you. So the first thing I want to share with you, as you wait for some people to jump on this thing, is where the heck I've been, okay? So for those of you who had no idea, most of you maybe are in that category. The end of May, I got married, so I was, that was May 29th. And so I got married, and so I went away for my honeymoon. And so this was the first time in my life where I've ever completely disconnected from pretty much everything business related, everything technology. I'd completely disconnected from everything. Alexander says, hey, I'm here again. Missed you on the STV call. Yeah, sorry, brother. I was on another coaching call with one of my students. I had to miss this week, but good to have you here. And so this was the first time I promised my wife. I said, look, I'm going to give you 2 weeks. In fact, it turned out to be about 3 weeks where I would just completely disconnect from work and give you that time, which we did. And I absolutely loved it. And I also absolutely hated it because I needed to, not hated being on my honeymoon, but like I so love what I do that it was very important for me to get back and get back into 100 mile an hour and get back to the stuff that we were doing. So we spent our honeymoon, for those of you who maybe are even remotely interested. Troy says, hello, John. Good to have you here, Troy. For those of you who are somewhat interested, that's why I've not been posting here recently in the past 3 or 4 weeks, because I have been away and completely disconnected. And so we spent about 8 or 9 days in Mauritius, and then we spent about 6 or 7 days in the Maldives. And it was just an absolute amazing time. But the reason why I put machete in the description of this video was because when pretty much like 2 days before we were about to leave Mauritius, we were mugged. We were actually attacked and mugged. It was nuts. It's like nothing I'd ever seen before. Like I've had someone try to mug me in the street before, and I've had a 6-inch blade, put towards my belly, and someone asking me for my phone, and I'm just like, screw you, and I'll walk off. I'm not taking any of that crap. But it was very different in Mauritius. So here's what happened, right? We went out for the day. We had a great tour. We went to see a volcano. We went to a rummery. We just did all this cool stuff. We ended up on a viewpoint to overlook this beautiful beach in Mauritius, and there were no other tourists on this viewpoint at this moment in time. And I set up my drone to set it off and get some good footage. It was just ready. It was calibrated. It was about to take off, and so my drone was sat there. And just before I take off, this car screeches up and pulls up next to this viewpoint, and 2 guys jump out. One guy with a massive wooden pole, looked somewhat like a bat. And another guy had like a 20 or 30-inch machete. It was absolutely ludicrous. I remember seeing this just going, surely not. This is like something out of a film. This cannot be real. And so anyway, they approach us. They start, shouting at us in Mauritian, and I can't understand what the heck they're saying. But I initially thought, they're not going to do anything. Like, nothing's going to happen here. They're just threatening us because they want their stuff. So I was trying to get a bit creative. I'm quite a strategic thinker. So I was thinking, right, I don't think he's going to use it. I don't think he's going to actually use that sword. So I tried to, when he went and grabbed my drone from the floor, I tried to take that moment to grab my phone out of the drone remote, and I tried to throw it under my arm and over the barrier. So, and then I was thinking I could just go pick it up from down there in the bushes later on. Anyway, that failed. I threw it under my arm, and it went over the barrier and ended up on a little ledge, and it was balancing on the ledge. Anyway, long story short, because I know you guys would rather me just get to the marketing and the good stuff that I wanted to share with you, but long story short, he's waving this thing at me, and giving him the remote was not enough. He knew there was supposed to be a phone in there too, and so at the same time as this guy with the machete is trying to get my phone, and I'm not telling him where it is because he hasn't seen it on the ledge. At the same time, the guy with the wooden bat, he's blooming threatening our guide, our tour guide that was with us, to the point where he's not giving over the keys. So the guy our tour guide gets lamped over the head with this wooden pole, but he manages to put up his arm, and so it catches his arm and fractures his arm, he breaks his arm. At the same time, it's like for like. So the guy with a machete comes, doesn't this sound nuts? Like something out of a film. Troy says, this is interesting. So the guy with a machete comes up to me, and he's literally like, I'm not exaggerating when I say this, there's a change in body language, like when someone's just threatening you, when someone's actually about to take action. And so everything changed like this. Our guide got smashed with the pole, and the machete dude, let's just call him the machete dude, he was literally, I'm not exaggerating, he was about to slice my arm. Like he was literally about to take my arm off. His body language changed. He was about to take a swipe with this thing, and he was eyeing up my limbs as to like where he's going to hit me. And that was the point where I was like, oh crap, I'm literally about to lose an arm. Like I've never been in a situation before where I'm about to lose a limb. It was nuts. So that was the point where I was like, all right, the phone's over there, just take it and get out of it. So he takes the phone, they take the keys, and they get off in the car. So I'm kind of giggling about it now because we're unharmed and everything. Well, apart from our poor tour guide, we're going to be sending him a letter and making sure he's okay. But me and my wife, we're unharmed, and they didn't steal anything that was actually going to ruin the rest of our honeymoon. They just took the drone, they took my phone, which ironically enough, where I was saying I promised my wife I would disconnect from everything business, disconnect from everything. I didn't take my laptop, but I had my phone for emergency contact, and then that got stolen. So I was forced to be completely lacking in technology, which actually turned out to be quite nice. I quite enjoyed it. I don't think I'll do it again, but I did quite enjoy it. But here's the final thing they took from me. They took my blooming prescription glasses. Who does that? What man steals prescription glasses from another man? What is wrong with the world? So these are my spare glasses, waiting to get new ones taken back. But anyway, like I said, we're unharmed, and we didn't have anything stolen that was actually going to ruin the rest of the holiday. Troy says, where was the wife in all of this? So pretty much, dude, when this guy approached me with the machete, the only two things that I was thinking about initially was I need to keep my eye on that blooming sword so that doesn't touch me, and I want to make sure that my wife is behind my peripheral vision. If I'm looking at the sword and I can't see my wife, then I know that she's behind me, and that's the best place for her to be right now. So when you say where was my wife in all of this, she was behind me, and between me and the tour guide, we just made sure that she was behind. So we were getting the front of the attack, and she was well, I was going to say safe behind us, but safer. So anyway, Luke says, congrats on the wedding, mate. I appreciate you putting a nice positive spin on that, crazy story. So I appreciate that, Luke. Good to have you here again. So listen, all of that craziness, I just thought you guys would enjoy that story. But I did actually want to share something with you of value that I think you will appreciate. And that was, I was talking just earlier on today with one of my coaching students. His name's Ryan, and he's building an amazing business. But we were talking about the entry point of his business. Like, how do you initially capture the interest of your ideal customers, your perfect audience, right? Identifying your perfect audience is a whole nother lesson for another time, another day. But once you've identified who is it you want to target, you've got to figure out how can you get in front of them, and how can you be different and stand out from everyone else in this industry. Because you've got to understand, right? For those of you listening to this, and maybe those of you catching the replay or whatever else, you've got to understand that you are fighting in a pool of, there are so many other people now. It doesn't matter what you're selling, what you're promoting, other people are fighting for the same customers, right? So if you take Gary, for example, let's have a silly example. Let's say this pen is Gary. He's hanging around on Facebook all day long. He is probably opting in to 5 or 10 different people that same day. He's scrolling his newsfeed on Facebook. Let's put Gary down. He's scrolling his newsfeed on Facebook every day, and he's seeing people targeting him for the things that he's interested in. He is not going to fully engage and become a super fan of every single person, company, or brand that he engages with every single day. So how do we stand out from the brands that are going to get opted into and then forgotten about, or the products or sales funnels that are going to get opted in and forgotten about, and how can we stand out? Okay. Well, the reason I've put lead magnets in the description box here, and why I've put the new wave of lead acquisition, and I think I've spelt that completely wrong up there, but lead acquisition, the skill and the process of acquiring leads into your business. The reason why I've said that is because we've gone through a transition on the internet, and we're still moving through it. right? The transition started that when email list building became a thing, right? Where it was a good process to generate a capture page and get people to opt into your list so that you could follow up with them with your marketing. When that first came out, that was a really good thing, right? That was a really, that was like I can't even remember the name of the guy who first created the capture page, but that was like revolutionary. Everyone was like, wow, like we don't have to just rely on our ad converting someone right there in the moment. We can take them through a process, start building a relationship with them. So when that first came out, you didn't really need to provide much value in order to get someone to opt in. People were just opting in left, right, and center for all kinds of stuff. Then we went through this period where it's like, okay, now you need a lead magnet, right? People want to be able to opt in for something that actually seems somewhat digitally tangible. I know that sounds really weird, but like something that actually is digital but seems like it holds value. Okay, so there was a whole wave of like 2 or 3 years where people were teaching, look, you've got to put together a PDF, you've got to put together, a free training series, you've got to put together a webinar where they're opting in for something that is deemed valuable in return for that name and email address. Well, now we're going through a new wave right now where, and I'm not kidding you, dude. I put out a Facebook Live about a month or two ago, maybe a little bit longer, where I was talking about value-fueled marketing and the need for the understanding of this concept called value-fueled marketing, providing value in every step of your marketing. And that has now taken place, or is taking place, within your lead magnets, okay? Again, it doesn't matter what your business is. Most businesses, if you have any business where you would like to follow up with your visitors and follow up with your leads and actually build a relationship with them and then promote them products as a result, listen, we are past the point now where you can just throw anything together to be a lead magnet, okay? Let me give you a couple of tips right now in this video that's dramatically going to help you, okay? I'm being deadly serious. First thing is you cannot cut corners anymore, right? If you're wanting to build a list and you know that, and listen, I'm starting to go off on a bit of a tangent, but I know what it's like when you're first starting your business, that it seems like there's so many things that you need to do. I've got to set up my capture page. I've got to build my product. I've got to set up my sales funnel. I've got to set up my merchant account. I've got to set up my membership site. So creating a lead magnet just seems like another thing that you have to do on top of everything else. Let me give you a big tip right now. Don't let your lead magnet be the thing that you cut corners on, okay? So don't just slap together any old PDF just for the sake of having something to give away. For someone to opt into your capture page, right? Don't just put any old video together just for the sake of having something to give away, okay? Your lead magnet needs to do 2 things. And I'm going to summarize again real quick for those of you who have just joined what a lead magnet is. A lead magnet is what is it that is enticing someone to want to opt in to your capture page. So for your business, the entry point of your business, if it makes sense, should be a capture page where someone can enter their name and email address in return for something of value that you're giving them in return, whether that's a webinar they're opting in for, whether that's a PDF report, whether it's a free training series, whatever it is, you're giving something away for free, okay? So that freebie, that lead magnet, has to do 2 things, okay? Very important it does these 2 things. Number 1, it has to provide standalone value, okay? Meaning that it shouldn't just be something that is slapped together in order to generate a lead and that's all it's really used for. It has to be something that you put so much time and effort into that it absolutely wows the people that are coming into your funnel, and that will further the reach and the engagement that you will get from those people, because they will enjoy the value they got from you by consuming your lead magnet so much that they will engage in the other stuff that you have going on inside your business, and hopefully as a result start purchasing some of your products and programs, okay? So it has to be of standalone value, meaning that if someone opted in, and they wouldn't do this by the way, but just as a hypothetical situation, if someone was to opt into your funnel and opt into your list and become a lead, even if they didn't go any further with your brand, they didn't go any further, they didn't purchase any programs, didn't join any of your Facebook groups, didn't engage in any of your content, if they consumed the content of your lead magnet, they should get standalone value from that lead magnet. That should genuinely give them light bulb moments and be good quality information that you're giving away for free, okay? Because like I said, gone are the days where you can just slap together any old lead magnet and just think, well, that'll get them into my funnel, and then I'll wow them with my sales message, or I'll wow them with my sales page, or I'll get them into my Facebook group, and that'll get going. Listen, this Gary person that we illustrated earlier, he is opting into your list, and he's opting into 10 other people's lists on that same day. So if you don't stand out from the crowd, you will lose Gary. You will lose his attention, and he will not follow your brand any further. He will not follow your stuff any further. And the way that you stand out is, yes, sometimes being creative with your marketing. Yes, sometimes having amazing videos that are memorable. But more than that, it's the value that you provided. If you can provide a light bulb moment for someone, then they will continue following your brand. So that's the first thing, is it must be of standalone value. And again, I know that takes some time to put together. I know that, rather than slapping together any old free report is much easier than actually taking time over it and providing genuine standalone value. But I cannot tell you the benefit that it will have for your business in the long run, right? We're not building a business for the short term. We're building a business for the long term, right? You with me? Do me a favor, give me some likes and some thumbs ups, and give me some likes if this is helpful for you, and if you're in agreement with what I'm sharing here, and if this is actually making sense to you. I'm just going to wait a moment before I give you the second thing that your lead magnet has to do. I just want to make sure that we're on track here, and this is making sense for you guys. So go ahead, give me some likes, give me some hearts, give me some juice here to show me that this is actually helpful, and this is good stuff, and you're getting benefit from this. Go ahead and hit like on this post, just so I can know. And leave me a comment saying, yes, this is making sense, or yes, you agree with me, or whatever else. I want to see your comments, I want to see your likes, because that fires me up to continue providing these little mini trainings for you, and sharing these lessons that we're learning in my company along the way. So go ahead, let me know. Okay, awesome. Bunch of you are liking this. Okay, fantastic. And leave me a comment too. Leave me a comment, say hello, and let me know if this is making sense to you. Okay? Leave me a comment. I'm going to check those in just a moment, and I'll give you a shout out. I see... cool. Claus says, hey John, haven't been here for a long time. Are you still making money with YouTube? Absolutely, bro. Firstly, welcome back. Welcome back to my content. I actually haven't been here for a while either. I explained that in the beginning of this video, so you can jump back and watch that. But yes, we're still doing some huge things on YouTube. YouTube's a very, very big part of what we do inside of my business here. And we're actually going to be growing that in a big way. We're looking into YouTube advertising now as a big part of what we're doing. So absolutely. You said great, thumbs up, awesome. Ali Bashar, you said what is the now? Not sure what you mean by that. Go ahead and let me know what you mean, and we'll get back to your comment here. So keep leaving your comments. I'm going to check them in just a moment and give you a shout out. But in the meantime, the second thing, and Paul says great content, brother. Awesome, appreciate you, Paul. Cool. So the second thing that your lead magnet has to do, as well as providing standalone value, it has to set up the sale, okay, for what you are ultimately looking to sell or promote, okay? So we actually have to, before you plan, okay, this is key, this is actually golden, right? Before you plan your lead magnet, before you plan what your capture page messaging is going to be, before you even plan your Facebook ads or your YouTube videos or your Instagram post or whatever it is that is going to be your marketing material and your marketing message, before you even plan any part of your marketing message, you have to first start with the end result, okay? So that if the end result is to sell them into your membership platform, right? Doesn't matter if you have a local business, whether you are a fitness instructor, whether you sell digital products, whether you have a membership platform, whether you are a coach, consultant, it doesn't matter what you do inside of your business. I'm keeping this general because it makes sense for everybody, okay? It doesn't matter what you are doing. The end result of what you're selling, okay, we have to start there, and your entire marketing message and all the content and all the value that you give leading up to that needs to be totally congruent, and in fact more so, set up the sale so that someone that digests your marketing material and digests your lead magnet and your content and your value coming into your world, it makes natural and progressional sense for them to then join your program. Okay, so again, if you're selling a membership site, if you have a digital program, if you sell information products, if you have a coach or consulting business, whatever the end result is, We want to make sure our entire message is congruent with that. So for example, right, I have a few different courses that we have in my company. We teach entrepreneurs how to use YouTube to grow their business with one of our training programs. We have another training program teaches people how to grow their business with Facebook advertising. I have another business that teaches entrepreneurs how to grow their business with email marketing and all of this good stuff that we're teaching you here today. So with those three topics in mind, it would not make sense for me to put a Facebook ad that is wowing them with all this content about traffic generation, specifically with YouTube. And this is an extreme example, but with YouTube, then I say, hey, if you like this stuff, I'm actually holding a webinar this week that's going to be teaching you how to do similar stuff like this, but on Facebook. Come ahead and register for the webinar. And they're going, okay, all right. So they're going to consume, in fact, let's not use a webinar example. Let's say a PDF. If you enjoyed this YouTube stuff I just taught you here on Facebook, I actually would love you to come check out my page where I want to give you free access to a PDF, a free report that's going to show you how to use this kind of stuff with Facebook, right? There's a bit of a disconnect there because I was talking about YouTube in my ad. Now I'm saying, hey, I'll show you the same concepts but on Facebook, so that's not really congruent. So anyway, so then they dive into the PDF, they request it, right? They dive into that content, they say, wow, this is really good content actually, right? I really like this stuff. So then at the end of the PDF, my call to action is, hey, if you enjoyed this stuff and you enjoyed getting this value from this Facebook training, I'd love for you to go ahead and check out my training program that I have, which is going to show you how to build a huge email list and how to monetize them effectively. There's a disconnect there, right? So it doesn't matter if that free report or that PDF was of crazy value, all about Facebook advertising. There's a disconnect there if you're then talking about your program that is in a completely different area of interest, right? Now that was an extreme example. But now I want you to take that example and apply that to whatever you're doing, even in the tiny aspects. So you need to make sure that there's not any disconnect anywhere in your funnel from the ads that you're putting out there and your traffic generation methods and your lead magnets and the value and the content that you're providing and ultimately the product that you would like them to join and sign up for. You need to make sure that that entire process is totally congruent, totally progressional, and that ultimately consuming your content, consuming your value would make sense as a natural next step to then join your program. You know what? I did enjoy that lead magnet. I did enjoy consuming that content. That was super good. Okay, I want to see what else they've got going on. Oh, you have a full training program that teaches what I just learned step by step in absolute detail. I'm in, right? I'm sold. Okay? So just be remembering that. Your lead magnets, okay, before we even recap the two things they have to be, let's recap the context of where it has to be positioned, the way that lead magnets have gone, and the new wave of lead acquisition, right? We're not talking about customer acquisition at this point in this particular video. We're talking about lead acquisition. We're acquiring someone, joining your email list and coming into your world. We're past the point now where you can just slap any old piece of content together in order to have someone join your list, right? You can't just put together a capture page that just gives away any old crap just in return for someone's name and email address, right? We're past that point now. We're in a new wave now where the way that you stand out, the way that you are different, the way that you beat your competition, okay, the way that you cross the line before any of your competition, that line representing acquiring a customer, the way that we get to that point is by wowing them with content and value. If you can do that, if you can provide more value, more light bulb moments, okay, for your visitors than your competitors, then you will win and they will engage in your content more than they will with other people's, and eventually they'll sign up to your stuff, okay, and they'll become a raving fan. That's how you stand out in today's marketing world, okay? Things have changed. So now when you're putting together that value and you're putting together that content, you're packaging it up into a lead magnet that you will give away on your capture page, has to be two things. Has to be of standalone value, okay? Super valuable by itself. In fact, think about it like this. When you're putting your lead magnets together, you need to put so much time and effort into putting that piece of content together that you would ideally want to sell it, okay? If you spend so much time and effort putting together a piece of content that you're going to give away for free in return for someone joining your list, you want to put so much effort into it that you ideally think, man, this is too valuable to give away for free. I need to be able to sell this thing. That's when you know you've got good enough content to give away for free, to wow them, and then they'll come through the process and ultimately join your program. So it has to be of standalone value. And number two is it has to ultimately set up the sale. Okay, has to ultimately set up the sale and be entirely congruent that the natural next step would be for someone to join your products and services. Okay, making sense? Do me a favor, leave me a comment just real quick. We've got a bunch of you on the line. Give me a yes, a big fat yes. Feel free to do it in capital letters if you feel that excited. Give me a yes if this has made sense to you, okay, and if this has been even remotely helpful. Okay, has this been worth your time being on this Facebook Live? Because I've just taken on, in fact, we're just employing a full-time filmmaker now to come join my staff. And one of the reasons for doing that is I know that there's so much stuff that I want to share with you and just reel off to you on a daily basis and just give you so much content. Like as we're doing things in my business and they're working and making sense, I want to be able to jump on a Facebook Live or jump on camera, shoot some content and just get that over to you guys, you know, free of charge. We've got our programs, we've got our training courses. You guys know about them. So whenever you're ready to join those, you can jump in. So aside from that, we want to be just producing content day in, day out. That's going to be able to help you just like this Facebook Live. So if this was helpful, give me a yes right now in the questions box, because that will encourage me that these little mini 20-minute, you know, trainings are helpful for you. And we'll start going crazy and producing a whole bunch of these for you so that you've just got this daily content that would be helpful for you. So give me a yes if it's helpful. Awesome. Pamela says yes in capital letters with exclamation marks. Roll? Oh, man, I've just murdered your name. Real? You said Roll. I'm going to assume that's Roll. You said yes. Vladka says yes, yes, yes. Awesome. Diane says great advice, John. You should be a hypnotist. I always get totally absorbed in your in your trainings. Awesome. I appreciate that, Diane. I'm glad it was helpful for you. Cool. Alexander says, I get that, but how do you cross-promote your products? Okay, good question. I'm going to stay long enough to... the person's name that I just murdered, you're just putting laughing, crying emojis. So I apologize for murdering your name. Dude, this is where it shows that you don't have to have... like. I have so many things that I'm no good at. One of them is like reading names. I'm sure I've got some kind of dyslexia. And so, you know, you don't have to be, you know all this stuff to be successful with your business and stuff. So I appreciate your comedy involved in that. So Alexander says, I get that, but how do you cross-promote your products? Okay, good question. I was also on a different coaching call with one of my top students, Joshua Elder, and he asked that same question. He's got an amazing YouTube business, and he was saying, he said, look, you know, I've got my training program that teaches YouTube advertising, and so I want to put together a tripwire that teaches people YouTube, and then I want to lead them into a $47 product that teaches them more stuff about YouTube. Then ultimately, I want to get them into my $1,000 training program that again teaches them the YouTube stuff, but gives them some more juice, like gives them more, you know, maybe better access to me or a Facebook group included. And he was saying, how should I structure this stuff? And we started, okay, and I'm getting to your question, Alexander. We started by kind of dissecting, okay, so what things could you pull apart? Maybe your tripwire, your $10 tripwire could just be maybe like a case study, right? You could just give them a case study of one YouTube video that worked really well for you and give that for $10. Your $47 product could be a full training program that teaches them this process, but doesn't really give them that kind of hand-holding support, doesn't give them that kind of live interaction with you in terms of Q&A calls, whatever else. Then your $1,000 product is for the people who really want to get serious with it, kind of get a little bit closer to you and get access to your more kind of in-depth training. And we started going down that route, and then I was thinking, actually, that's not the right way to go, right? Because you're going to start to actually alienate the people coming through your funnel, and they're going to say, oh, well, I feel like I've got all I need for the moment in your $47 product. I'm not ready to move to the $97 product. So actually, I said to him, look, focus on just having your core $1,000 program. Focus on providing so much value that they just enjoy your stuff so much, and you take away these other stepping stone products, and they can either just keep consuming your free content, or they can dive straight into your $1,000 product, but there's no middle ground, right? And keep doing that. And then to answer your question, Alexander, then how do you then transition into promoting the other products and services you have, well, that is the perfect transition over time. So what I'm talking about in this training was making sure you have full congruency in your particular funnel, so that everything, like let's say you're selling, okay, let's use my example. I've got a YouTube training program, I've got a Facebook training program, and I've got an email marketing training program. So I'm not going to mix the three into one sales funnel. I'm going to keep it very, very congruent with the process I'm taking someone through, consuming my lead magnet, consuming that value, then ultimately selling them on the YouTube training, for example. But now they're on my list. Now I'm going to start sending them things like these Facebook Lives and cool content and keep them happy and keep them, loving my stuff and enjoying my brand and the stuff we're putting out. Later on down the line, I will send them a new process by saying, hey, if any of you on my list are interested in Facebook advertising, we've just put out some cool new content for that. So then they digest that new cool content about Facebook, and then they have a chance to purchase the Facebook course. Then later on down the line, I'll say, hey, we've got some other cool content for you. It's all about email marketing. And they digest that. And then I say, hey, if you enjoyed that, I've got an email marketing course. Make sense? So cool, you said, yes, I get that. No distractions till they have paid. Focus is key. Awesome. Yeah, I told Josh, look, take out that $47 product idea, okay, and take out the Tripwire idea for now, okay? Nothing wrong with those models. By the way, there's no right or wrong, but my advice to him was take out those stepping stones, because otherwise you take people from your advertisement, they'll join your $47 product and they'll say, okay, well, I'm going to stick with what I've got here for the moment, and I'll join your $1,000 one when I'm ready. Okay, why not take away that stepping stone? In fact, why not take the content that you wanted to sell for $47? Why not don't sell that and distribute all of that as free content for them to just digest for free, have them fall in love with you, and then there's no stepping stone except they will be dying to buy something from you, and they'll want to go straight to your $1,000 product. Okay, makes sense? So again, that point is not going to be relevant to a lot of you, but you can still take the lessons from that. That'd be helpful. Alexander says, Richard Branson has dyslexia, so don't worry. Awesome. And my wife has even jumped in here and said hello. So hello, wife. I will see you home for dinner in just a moment once I've wrapped up this Facebook Live. Awesome.